Hi, Richard.
Well, hi, Kim.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's a lovely day. Lovely days. Strange circumstances. So quiet.
Hmm.
But yeah, doing good.
But
Thank you.
you're
And you?
okay. Hmm.
You?
Great. Me? Um, yeah, I'm fine. I actually okay, and not somebody anybody should worry about. I'll let you know if you should.
I mean,
Um,
there is so much anxiety about
hmm. Yep. Um, well, one of the things that I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time about your role as Godalming Town Councillor, and now it looks like um, it's even more important than ever that we have a labor counselor.
I think that's right.
Yeah. And I thought we could start maybe by, you could tell us a little bit about the town store. Is that what the community store? Is that what
The
it's called?
community store, yes. Yes. I mean, one of the questions that you raised earlier was, what am I most proud of in Godalming Council? The answer is its response to the COVID-19 thing. And the community store is a remarkable thing because, we're not, one of the hardest things in the world is to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And people in Godalming are naturally, I mean, for the most part, we're quite comfortable and naturally very generous. And the community store has been a way of focusing that. Now, the thing about food banks is you have to be referred to them. These are the normal rules. So you have to go to a doctor or a social worker. Um, Actually, you could come to a counsellor. The rules were relaxed just before all this nastiness. But you would need to expose yourself.
Yeah.
I suspected we were going to have this kind of crunch, but I thought it was going to be a hard Brexit. I hadn't realized
Yeah.
this was what was going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
But maybe you should start and explain that the community store, you just call and ask for a slot. Is that right? You don't have to go
exactly.
because for anybody, cutting through red tape, having to call the doctor or get, it's a layer of bureaucracy that some people are intimidated by or just don't want to do it or shamed by, frankly.
Shape, exactly.
And,
Though that is exactly the
so
point.
you guys have made it possible for anybody in need. No questions asked, right? It's just
Exactly.
call,
Exactly.
get, if you need, you'll get it. And now that I've clarified that, I guess you don't need
No,
sorry.
you're dead right. Because as I said, the weakness of the food banks was that you needed to be referred, and the other thing was you couldn't come back within 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And in case, in quotation marks, you became dependent. And
Yeah.
because I was deputed to be on the committee of the organisation that runs Godalming Food Bank, I had identified those things early on. Now, I don't get things done. I just tend to be a bit of a pain in the neck
Mm-hmm.
and raise things that come from a left kind of position. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking no credit for doing this, which has been done by the astonishing team at Godalming Council who are apolitical. But as you say, the community store means people can ring up, make an appointment, go in, get what they need. Also, it is not just food; it's hygiene products, which have been are always a very very important part of those kind of services, because there are things that are essential over and above food.
Yeah.
And there are children's books and toys and all sorts of things included. And as I say, Godalming people I've always found to be extraordinarily generous. In tandem with this, the local Waverley COVID support team set up supermarket trolleys at 6 locations around Godalming, which are there on a Tuesday morning between 10 and 12.
That's really
As I say, that's put together by a whole team of people that don't include me. All I am is a pain in the neck.
Yeah, Bill, that's sometimes a pain in the neck is a really good thing to be. Can we go back to a question that I had about what made you decide to run for town councillor?
Sure. It seemed to me the least I could do. I joined the Labour Party in 2000 15, I think, in order to elect Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
After having spent 5 years shouting at the television during austerity. You know, austerity costs lives, austerity is innumerate. There is no reputable economist who has described austerity as anything other than suicidally and self-harming. It was totally stupid. But I've been shouting those things at the television for 5 or 6 years. I thought it was about time. The least I could do was to get involved. And as a Labour active, the least I could do was to be available to stand when we needed candidates. And I had the dubious distinction of being elected.
Great. That's great, Richard. You've done some really good work out there. What are some other things that you've been able to do on the town council that has had a positive impact on the community?
Well, back when the world was normal, I was involved in getting some, in achieving road calming on Portsmouth Road. I say achieving it because the signs, vehicle activated signs, the ones that say time you slowed down,
Yeah.
On the racetrack bit on Portsmouth Road between Milford and Godalming, which is a dangerous place. People have been injured. Lots of animals have been killed. I mean, we lost a cat there. And there are people who live on either side who are terrified to cross the road, sometimes with pushchairs and babies in arms.
Yeah.
There was a petition that I got involved in, set up by a constituent of mine, which got a lot of signatures online. And she herself went to a Surrey County Council meeting to encourage Surrey to make some budget available. And to be entirely fair, Councillor Peter Martin, who is a Tory, was the proximate, effector of this. But the upshot is that we are getting those signs, so the road will be slowed down. So I'm very pleased with that. I did a little work with the Wharf Nursery, where they have people who are mostly commuting in from out of town, mostly not very well paid, mostly need to park because public transport doesn't allow for that kind of radial connection. It goes north-south into London or out of London. So I've arranged for some more parking. They need more yet, but I mean, the greatest gift they can get is free parking. Mm-hmm. They do an astonishing job. They're one of the very few state-funded nurseries, and they do an astonishing job. And their Sure Start funds went all together, but their core work goes on. They're remarkable. They're worth a visit if you're interested. I've been involved in the declaring climate emergency, of course.
Oh yeah.
And in voting for things that mean that it's not just a gesture. Things like water pumps and not using plastic and so on and so forth. And also, I've been working with the taxi drivers at Godalming Station, because Godalming Station is so dangerously set up. And this is work in progress. But what we need to do is to make it safer, because at the moment, there is an unholy coincidence of bodies and cars that is really not safe. So that's ongoing work. But in that process, I've made a lot of friends among the taxi drivers. So
that's good. So a lot of good public safety measures going on and out your way. And I have to say, Godalming does have a fabulous community spirit. I've always found that myself as well. Yeah, thanks, Richard. Now, how do you see your role going forward, given this state of, the pandemic and the upheaval that it's causing?
Well, it's very interesting because, again, largely because the council is run from the left/centre left, and I have to give credit to the people who won't want me to name them, who are doing that.
Yeah.
So, and we obviously couldn't make any lasting decisions, but now the law has been amended so that we can have proper virtual meetings. So that's beginning to happen. But we've been in contact all that time. And we've also, again, at the instigation of the town clerk, who is an unsung hero, we have had a party leaders meeting regularly to discuss everything that's going on.
I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening in the United States.
Yep. Coming from Michigan.
Oh, yeah. You had to go there. Yeah. No, I wanted to say that I'm so glad that we have you and our other labor counselors and other left-wing counselors on our borough council and in our town councils, because you know, I mean the news that's coming out of the United States is just devastating. This week there were photographs and videos of hours-long queues of people waiting to get food. And we have such a brutal and uncompassionate government. And it really, really does make a difference, you know, to have left-wing politicians and counselors in your community working for you and working for the betterment of, and working out of a place of compassion for people.
It's lovely to hear that. I mean, in America, it's always seemed to be strange that the idea that the government works for the people and deploys money to those who need it most is somehow communist. It's always seemed to be a very, very strange view.
Yeah.
And over here, I mean, in Godalming, which is in Surrey, which is in the Blue Belt, you know, 11 Tory MPs out of 11. It is not, I don't think, that people are desperate to keep voting Tories in. It's that so many people who are perfectly good-hearted, reasonable, generous people haven't seen an alternative. And what's really exciting is that had changed before the current unpleasantness, and that many of the feelings of generosity, of caring for the neighbours, which we've seen with all the clapping and there is this process now of people perhaps examining those values. And you know, when we get back to normal, if you know, normal will be something different, I expect.
Yeah.
Who knows? It may well be that we end up with a greater awareness of how government has to be compassionate, has to be for ordinary people, and people who pay taxes need to get services.
That's right. That's right.
But I am, you know, excited being involved to some extent in this. And you asked me earlier that what's the hardest part of it? The hardest part of it is juggling. You know, having at this level, you know, as an amateur politician, you don't get expenses payment or anything, and you have to hack time out of a working day.
Yes.
And I have, you know, I have a demanding job, 6 adult children, 6 grandchildren, you know, and lots going on. Why am I saying this? It's great to get that kind of support that you're expressing. And I rather think that if people realize that it is worth voting Labour, that there is this thing going on around here, it may be more people will vote and more people won't say, oh, I suppose I've got to vote Tory because that's all there is.
I know. I mean, I feel like we are working so hard for the community in whatever way we can, and to make sure things are fair and that they're equitable and that everybody gets the help that they need. And yeah, it's great to have you working in our corner, Richard. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. And I'd just like to say finally, you know, as a kind of, you know, what can we do? You can A, stay safe, B, stay generous, and C, stay hopeful.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.